It's not just a glamour aspect, it is a very tough and lonely journey. If you don't understand it as a business, the financial structuring, the legalities, knowing your customers really well, if you don't have that, you will make a mistake. Sometimes this smartness can actually be very dangerous. We all think, oh, we know everything. And it's happened to me also. You have to protect your ideas, you have to protect your IP, you have to protect your first hiree, your first customers. That you must do. I've seen more downturns than anyone else. I've come from hotels, retail, pre-LinkedIn, pre-social media, pre-whatever. I mean, my first smartphone was a BlackBerry. I don't even know if people have heard about it now. But what happened was, it was a pathway. And I should be grateful to all my mentors, actually. So when I was, they say 12, 15 years back, and it started with TIE and Head Start. So for those who don't know, Head Start is a volunteer-driven organization. They've got about 25 odd chapters all over. You have been to some of the activities all across. So it started Head Start as a volunteer. And then TIE Bangalore again as a volunteer, then a member. So it started with these two. And then a lot of folks used to approach me to do events, community activities, workshops, that kind of stuff. They said, look, you're a senior person, which means old guy, whatever.
No, we don't. We disagree.
Less people will say no to you.
Okay.
So if you write to an investor and say something is happening, out of consideration and out of politeness, they'll say, okay, we'll turn up. If you write to a founder, or if you write to, say, a NASSCOM and say, like, give us the space to do an activity, they will not say no. So keeping that in mind, I think that's why I got involved in a lot of companies, a lot of organizations, and started doing that. And then what happened was, the NASSCOM guy said, hey, why did you come with us? The Center of Excellence. They had started something on IoT, hardware, data science, AI.
This is during the 10,000 startups period?
Yes. So NASSCOM for startups, 10,000 startups. And you had all these industry bodies, and I tried to keep it as crisp as possible. And because of NASSCOM, then some of the TIE guys were wished to do a lot of events, a lot of community activities, collaborations. They said, can you become our executive director? Because we know you as a volunteer, as a member. We have seen your photographs 10 years back. And we said, okay, this guy's been around for some time. Come for a couple of years, 3 years, whatever it is, and work with us as executive director and support the ecosystem. So in parallel, Head Start and TIE Bangalore, then NASSCOM, and then co-working space. I used to do a lot of work with BHIVE. Started with BHIVE. And then, of course, WeWork came in, Office came in. So they were all friends.
We are
and
immensely grateful to BHIVE.
Yes, we're sitting
Absolutely.
here.
Brilliant spaces.
So Shesh and Ravindra, if you remember, Sandeep, they used to have these bungalows.
Yeah, I remember.
Koromangala,
HSR.
Yes,
I'm talking about 2016, 17
time
period.
First started. And they had a space of 50 people. So we used to do events over there.
Got it.
And only standing room space and all that stuff. So I think it started with that. Yeah. But obviously, it's not just about the events. Sure. Then I understood that startups need a lot of support. And very honestly, very frankly, I'm in a position of influence and responsibility. Can we do something for these guys? Can we bring the ecosystems together? Can we bring more incubators, accelerators? The smaller VCs started with. And then, get some good quality founders to be mentors. So I think that was a journey.
You think that path that founders take has become a lot easier in the last 10 years?
Of course.
I mean,
of course.
The 2014, 15, of course, it is not just the money path, because there have been funding cycles all throughout in the last 10, 15 years.
Correct.
Has that path to building a decent company, has it become a lot easier?
Much easier. We should give a shout out again to certain organizations within the government also. Kerala Startup Mission, the Karnataka state government also does. They have this incredible Elevate program, which has supported, I think, more than 200
state funds like Kitwen.
Yes.
Yeah, some fund of funds.
Does
Tamil Nadu does it well.
The Startup Odisha team is there. Maharashtra has their own innovation team. Plus what Sign does, which is part of the IIT Bombay.
So I was associated with Sign when I was in business school.
Amazing.
In 2005.
Yes, so you know that, right? And Sandeep, I think a lot of the operator VCs are also like mentors.
Sure.
They're willing to support some early stage startups. Even if they can't fund them, no problem. At least they'll guide them. They'll open a couple of doors. And also the consulates, few cities, not everywhere, but I think Bangalore, the consulates are amazing. They're looking for great companies. They're bringing delegations, especially during Bangalore Tech Summit and now the TIE Global Summit.
I remember London and Partners.
Divya Bajaj.
Even Jitech's Divya team.
They're taken people. Yeah. So these collusions, one word that one of my very close friends called Derek, he remember his story, right? He was a founder of Flutura and they were winning a lot of deals against a big company like Accenture. They came into the attention of Accenture and now they were bought over, right? And obviously their 100 odd employees, the founders are very well settled and now they're working very hard and they're making even more money. But you see that ability to make things happen, good positive things, the mentoring, the funding support, the grants, the IP, the other stakeholders like lawyers and chartered accountants, company secretaries. That's what brings people together. A lot of round tables, a lot of these collisions that happen. When I used to work with Dexter Capital, we used to do a lot of these events and tournaments.
Sure.
We were talking about the pickleball, and there's a 14th December, they're doing something on badminton once again. So I think these kind of things really add value. There are very passionate and committed people in these industries and in these VCs, whatever, who are not just doing it for the money. Money is important. It is the fountain. It is very critical, but they care. So I think we should help those kind of guys also to do well in life.
Well, I was just wondering, because you talk to so many first-time founders, right? Young founders, first-time founders. Now, if there is some kid who wants to become a founder or just starting out, where do you think most first-time Indian founders get it wrong? What are they doing it incorrectly? Like, of course, like on an average. And what advice would you have for them?
See, Pusha,
Apart from meeting you late.
no, not that. See, let's be very fundamentally clear. It's not just a glamour aspect. You guys, your operator VCs, you'll understand this. It is a very tough and lowly journey, number one. Number two is, if you don't understand it as a business, right? I mean, the complexity of business, unfortunately, the financial structuring, the legalities, understanding the regulation, knowing your customers really well, knowing what is possible and everything. If you don't have that, you may have all the passion and understanding of what can be possible. You will make a mistake. There will be no one to tell you that you're making a mistake. There will be no one to guide you as a mentor. So choosing the right mentors, exposing yourself to a business, doing some shadowing, working with some CTO, CIO, CMO, whatever, just to understand how business runs. How do you deal with customers? How do you do hiring? What is the paperwork? What is IP? If you don't do that, it's very dangerous for a founder. I'm not even talking about now corporate governance or due diligence or whatever. That will come at some point of time. So the founder's passion is good, but what we should also tell these youngsters was learn it as a business. No one can tell you what to do in terms of technology or whatever. You're smart guys, right? No one is questioning that. But it's a business. If you make a mistake, you deal with the wrong people, you sign the wrong contracts, etc., and you know how difficult sometimes it is to collect money.
So you're more talking about the actual nitty-gritty of running a business.
Yes.
And not just the tech or raising money or the hoopla around that.
Correct.
But how do you manage all of these things?
Exactly.
And very interesting.
Because otherwise you go and get it wrong. No, it's not about just I ran out of funding or I was too early or my customer. Why did that happen? So you have to be careful. And look, it's also, unfortunately, there is a little bit of stigma attached to this, that, you could have worked somewhere, but you started a company, you didn't even know what you were doing. So it brings the...
So you think that first-time founders should ideally work for somebody else, gain some amount of experience.
And be very upfront that we are going to work for you because we want to start something on our own. I mean, I know so many founders who did that, and they actually got backing and investments from the people that they work with. So think about it. Isn't that a great scenario? But of course, you have to protect your ideas, you have to protect your IP, you have to protect your first hiree, your first customers. That you must do, because it's a business. Right? It's not about a glamour part of it. Right? I mean, would you invest in someone who has no clue how to run a business? You would get very nervous because paisa doob jayega types. Okay? Or, I don't want to see them fail. I mean, we have seen so many mature companies, mature startups floundering because the founders couldn't manage the ecosystem. I mean, I'm not being preachy over here, but I think it makes sense to learn a little bit about business. And regulatory frameworks keep changing, no? Karnataka is different. Bengal is different. Delhi is different. Bombay is different.
Tax, legal, all of that.
Yeah, exactly. And where to start, where to get incubated, what are the pros and cons? Maybe that it's happening, please. I'm not saying it's not happening, but sometimes they miss that right decisions or the smart decisions or informed decisions.
A lot of founders, what they get it wrong is when they're starting out, they get so much bad advice, right? Because advice is like...
But how do you differentiate it, Pushkar? That's where the challenge is.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know. Like, is there any way for founders to say, is this a good advice? Or maybe for a young founder starting his first company, does it make sense to join an accelerator?
It does.
For an incubator. And then how do you find the right accelerator?
Okay. So let's be very clear, right? Like, I mean, the statistics will come out that hardly any of the so-called unicorns or whatever come from
an accelerator.
Have come out of accelerator incubator. But that's not the point here. If you want to learn through them, like the legal aspects, the financial aspects, like, get some technology mentoring, you'll get a lot of the technology inputs. So if you're part of a good quality incubator accelerator, you want AWS credits, you want all that kind of help and support, you'll get it. So again, it's a wisdom of the founder to absorb. They have to absorb. Right? They and their team and whoever their thing has to absorb the knowledge. But then how do you make a wise decision? it's not easy. And sometimes that at that point of time, that have been the best decision, but things changed. Who knew what would happen to us in terms of pandemic?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's very difficult to differentiate, but how do you make them wise? Because they're smart people. And sometimes this smartness can actually be very dangerous. We all think, oh, we know everything. And it's happened to me also. No? I said, I've been doing this for a long time. Yeah, what nonsense. And suddenly I make a stupid decision. And without realizing it. Or even maybe it was a correct decision then, but I could not pivot or I couldn't handle the repercussions or something changed.
Right.
So I think, Pusha, it's a very valid question, what you're saying. Difficult to answer it. But I think what sometimes, they should not jump into a decision and do something immediately. Just take a step back.
So somewhere in between, right?
Yeah.
Not jumping into a decision too quickly or not talking to way too many
Yes,
people,
way
which
too
will
many
kind of
people, yes,
cloud your
yes.
decision.
And what you want is an outcome. I want to learn about a term sheet. I'm just talking basics now.
Right.
I want to know that I don't make a mistake when I sign up some contract. Or how do I do the hiring right? Or how do I choose the right incubator or accelerator? Where do I register my company?
Yeah.
Because there are just 5-6 states which are giving you tremendous value.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, but I think if they really are careful and smart, they register for DPIT, they register for some of the workshops, they go to the NASCOM, they can see now many of these places you can become a virtual incubator also. You don't necessarily
You don't have to physically relocate there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absorb the knowledge, build your product, talk to lots of customers. But again, about customers, Pushkar, if they're not going to pay you on time, they're not going to pay you at all, or they're going to, not give you profits, choose not to work with these people. Not that they're bad people, but you're going to die. You're going to struggle. So this wisdom is not easy. Sometimes it comes a hard way.
You're bound to make mistakes.
You will be.
Some mistakes,
You
so
have
you
to,
just
you have to.
recover very fast.
But then being a resilient founder and having the self-awareness that, okay, maybe I'm not doing this right. Maybe I should step back. Maybe I'm missing this opportunity, right? So that comes through time, and many of them are very young. But if any way that we can contribute and say like, boss, have you thought about this? Do you think that this is the right outcome that you want? As long as you have that framework, right, then maybe your decision making will be slightly better.
Is there any good time to raise your first round, or there's no good time? It's very subjective.
Yeah, it is very subjective. See, customer money and grants is great money to have because then your cap table is cleaner and you are in a position of strength to I'm talking about from a founder point of view.
Right.
Okay, that's number one. Number two is, but if you really want to grow and you want to expand, getting the right money, the smart money is important. Don't give away too much. Number one, and see, what if there's a downturn? You may be a great organization, great founder, really doing well, but there's a sentimentally, it is slightly down. And because of that, you're not able to raise money and you're getting stuck. Like you need to build this product, you need to bring in more features or benefits, but you need money to build that because it's expensive, right? Talent is expensive. So always be on the lookout for money. If it's the right time or wrong time, is not really important. But what matters is if you have a maturity of understanding your product and technology and your customer roadmap, and you know that at 6 months from now, if I don't have this kind of money, I'm going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
Then you should know it. Am I going to get from grants? Am I able to raise from family, friends? Do I have internal money which I can capitalize? Or do I need to go to VC? And this takes time, no? I mean, if you get into this argument about this certain clauses, anti-dilution and this and that, it's going to take a lot of time. But you need the money. You need to build a product. And if you are going to be a US or European-centric company where you have to get customers from there and you have to travel, who's going to negotiate with the VCs? Who's going to negotiate to build, the product? So you got to be careful on that. So Pushkar, difficult to answer that is the right time or wrong time. I think what also matters is what stage do you need the money, and you have to be very, very honest to yourself that if I don't have this kind of balances at so and so time, I'm in trouble. And what if my customer delays? If that happens,
So you're talking about the whole planning conundrum.
Yeah.
Talk about where you say the amount of money that you need, multiply that by 3, the amount of time that it takes.
Yes. And anything can go wrong, no? I mean,
Anything can go
can
wrong.
become can get shrunk anytime.
Yeah.
Customers not paying you on time, or suddenly you don't have enough talent to build a certain feature, and you have to hire them. They don't come cheap. The best of talent is you have to pay them a fair value.
What advice would you give to a founder who's in that situation where his company is not growing fast enough? And he's got 50, 100, 150 employees. He's not growing fast enough. He's still a stretch away from getting that next VC check. What advice would you give somebody like that?
Yeah, so this is very personal for the founder, and at times it might be a little bit tough. I mean, we have read about headlines coming out that, you laid off people, but you have so much of money in the bank. What about the poor employee?
Right.
How do you handle that? No one is wrong here. No one is right, no one is wrong.
And you also sponsor the FIFA World Cup as well.
Yes, exactly.
Situation.
Yeah. So basically, where are you utilizing your money, man? Where is your humanity? Where is your empathy for people? So that is one aspect of it. But if you're talking about the fact that you know that it's going to happen, you got to be a little bit generous when you're severing people also. Okay, one question is that do the upper level guys take a salary cut so you can increase the runway and you can help these people? Next is, can you give them that 1-2 months or 3 months at least?
A bridge.
Bridge you know, and also some companies say, okay, health insurance, we keep paying for it. Because that's a danger zone, right? You don't have money and then some, and it always will happen. That's when the calamities of life and illness, it's normal, it's human life is
Murphy's Law.
Yeah, Murphy's Law.
will happen.
And it's like this, when you're down and out is when everything will throw you from always. So, you know, so that empathy, that thinking, and then a lot of people have actually set up, and you should plan for this well in advance, right? You know this is going to happen. So they create a library of resumes. They reach out to more people, founders. See, and this is, you have to work. It may not help your company, very honestly. Okay, but then it's a right way to do it, and you survive longer, and then hopefully customers will come back. Money comes in, and then you can rehire some of these guys. You convert them into a consultant mode where they work for half the time, but at 1/3 the salary. But see, you still need basic survival money, right?
Sure.
It may be 3 lakhs, 5 lakhs, what you are earning per month, but now you need 1.5 lakh to survive, and you need your insurance and this and that taken care of. So that's a way to handle this. I know founders who do it, and it's not easy decision. But if you don't do it, then you're not a nice person. Because if you knew this was going to happen, and you know that there was no way out for the next 3 months, don't kill your people, because they stood by you. And employees are employees. No? I mean, I've seen more downturns than anyone else. You all will not even remember that if you remember when that, the New York situation happened.
2001. I saw it as well.
Yeah, you saw it.
2001, 2008.
I was in the hotel industry and all that.
Oh
time,
my God, yeah.
The hotels just collapsed. I mean, there was no rooms. There was no one coming for bookings. There was the restaurant zone is coming and zero revenue. I'm not joking. Zero revenue. Then how do you manage the situation? I mean, I know what happened to my friends in the hotel business and retail business during COVID. They went through hell all over the world.
Not all over the world, yeah. Not
yeah. And somehow they, and these are great people, right? I mean, there's such amazing skills. They're so good. But circumstances.
This is brilliant. I mean, it was very insightful. Thanks a ton to our space sponsors, Ravindra and the excellent team at
BHIVE
guys.
Awesome
Obviously,
Excellent
fantastic building, and all of you guys should come here and check it out.
Yes. But very nice.
Thank you so much.
Church Street place is
Church Street is very nice. I was there for an event.
Yes.
Quite recently as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Sir, namaskar. Take care, guys.